All right, well, we're back. Corey, sorry to interrupt you, but do continue.
All right, we'll take a look at Nick's final roster here. Another year, fourth year, where only two of the keeper, actually, I guess third year, sorry, because I wouldn't have had keepers year one. Third year in a row that two keepers were moved from the team that won it all. He only kept two people from the draft, Jacob Truba, Braden Point. Understandable. Through the year, he moved for Robert Hagg, December, Keith Yandel, Kyle Connor, the same day in January, Josh Anderson in January, Tarasenko, Tyler Seguin, Niederreiter, and Matt Duchene all at the deadline here. So the 20th to 22nd, some big push. And then some notable free agents. So Max Domi, he's had since October. Darcy Kemper, he's been holding on since December, so would have been a big ad. Then some playoff push people: Lawson Crouse, Lars Eller, Ian Cole. So that makes up his final roster.
Impressive final roster, really. Like if you look at the
Yeah,
the players that he got, um, I think Duchene's gonna be one of those players that we see on a couple different winning teams. Uh,
not this year though.
what's that?
Not this year.
We'll see. We'll see. That's yet to be determined. But yeah, it's interesting to see how many keepers have been moved throughout the years as well. That's something very I'm very curious about to see like everyone's history on kind of keeper movement. But yeah, some grind that he's picked up. Oh, a little special slide here.
Year five.
Oh,
Fuck you,
yeah.
John. You don't win.
It's the year
But
I had him on the
I know
ropes
what
in
he
round
means
one.
now. So when I actually went to a thing in Yahoo and it shows like a list of all the winners from each year, and he is there, unfortunately.
It's
And it's
because
just
the tiebreaker, they canceled the season. The tiebreaker is like the highest seed. So because he finished first in the regular season, they just gave it to him.
oh,
The league doesn't
fuck you, John.
recognize.
You didn't win.
He didn't even win the first round.
Yeah, he wasn't gonna win.
No,
All right.
I had him on the ropes. Kyle,
He won't admit it.
he won't admit it. Then we got the Kyle report. He likes to do this every year.
Don't.
You guys
No.
got it up there?
Yep. We
So
can
it's
see
up.
the totals. We just don't know who's who though.
All right. I'm moving over here. Okay, so what I do is I get a total of an aggregate total of everybody's scores from the last 5 weeks. And then I just populate it and then I assign a score of 1 to 8 uh, to give a score. And basically, and this is what I've been doing the last few years, and it's predicted the winner every year I've done this, is that the lowest score is who I predict is going to win the uh, the trophy. And this year, as I predicted, I have Nick Saucier as the top team. Now,
Bam.
now if we take a look at Nick's score here, he's number one in a few categories here. He's got the best goal scoring, most shots on goal, most blocks. What I did find surprising is that his goaltending is actually just kind of average in the league. So he's a bit vulnerable in the goaltending categories, but otherwise he's dominant with player categories. You'll see second, fourth, third, second, fourth. So he's not losing a lot of player categories. Um, Here, I got a surprising second in Nick O'Brien. Um, and this is a bit of a grain of salt because Nick's goaltending, he had an insane week last week, and I think that kind of bumped him up a little bit. That's not to say that his team's bad. His team is obviously good, but I think uh, he kind of got bumped up by that last insane week he had with like 3 shutouts. Because you'll see like his goaltending stats, He finished first in two of them, second uh, in one of them. In terms of saves, he has I'm looking at Shane there. Sorry. But he did finish first in two, save second, GAA percentage fourth. He's got some good goaltending going on, but a lot of that's skewed from last week. Otherwise, yeah, he's got a pretty good team. Gets a lot of PIMs, a lot of game-winning goals, which is kind of lucky. But he's not bad in too many categories. Like assist, he's the worst. Power play points and hits, he's kind of bad. But he's kind of mostly good everywhere else. In third, I have Shane. And Shane's actually dominant in five categories in the league. You'll see he's first, bam, 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 bam. Assists, power play points, hits, GAA, the save percentage, dominant in goalie stats. Doesn't get a lot of saves, but makes up for it in these two categories, the GAA and percentage, and the shutouts too. So yeah, just a few categories that Shane's kind of lacking in. Goals, plus minus, PIMS, game winners. Again, that's one of those lucky categories, but it does correlate to the fact that he's got a 7 here and a 6 in the GWG. So that's where I have Shane. Pretty close score to Nick O'Brien here. Next, I have Corey. And Corey is kind of like good all around. Doesn't do he topped out in one category, but for the most part, he's kind of just slightly above average. So he's competitive in almost all categories except for blocks and plus minus. Then we got Dan and Domo 75-76. Not too much of a difference between the two of them. Dan's very dominant in a couple categories, plus minus, shorthanded points. But otherwise, doesn't have too much going on. Domo is one to look out for. He's kind of slightly below average in a lot, but that means he's maybe not the best, but he's competing in a lot of categories. Next is Daltrey. Not too much to say. Gets a lot of saves and goalie wins, but otherwise not too much to talk about. And the team that I have ranked last, which doesn't surprise me, it doesn't surprise Shane because we've been talking about this for a while, and that's Braden. Going into the playoffs, I have Braden ranked as the worst team going into the playoffs. But the thing that's sneaky about Braden and going through this is that he's actually really good in 6 categories, which is almost enough to win almost every week. If you're really good in 6 categories, you just need to win your bad categories to win. So we've seen him win on a lot of Sundays. So, when he's overperformed maybe one of these categories, that might boost him up to 7 or 8 points. And that gets him to where he needs to be. So while I do have him ranked as the worst, he's a little bit sneaky. You have to be careful. I have him ranked as third in goals, second in assists, third in plus minus, third in shorties, second in game winners. But then you see like how bad he is in some of these other categories, particularly on the grind. Goaltending, he's terrible, but he does get a lot of saves, which means he's probably doing a lot of starts. So he can, maybe on occasion get that win category. So yeah, that's how I have it ranked. Every year, the team with the lowest score, since I've done it, which is predicted, I think 2 of Shane's wins and I predicted Mark's win. The lowest score wins cup. I have Nick Associated winning the cup this year, which is what I predicted early in the season before I even saw this. Comments, queries?
Like Corey?
No, I think it's good. I think the nice thing about this, it takes the opponent out of the question, right? It's just looking at the numbers that they put up compared to each other. And that's really what it comes down to. Yeah, it's interesting to see.
I'd be interested.
I think it'd be fun to like kind of like color coordinate the scores to like make it more visual so you can see where people are in the better and the worse. Like if you sent me this, I'd have a lot of fun with it. I can tell you that much. Um,
Yeah, it was kind of last minute for me. Like I
yeah,
started it earlier this afternoon, and I think
no,
previous years I've color coordinated this, and this year I just
yeah, no,
uh,
I know what you
I
mean,
got
but like
busy.
it comes across like you can tell, you can see it'd be fun to see the goalie stats specifically versus player stats too. Um, like
Yeah,
if you could focus on that.
yeah, but like what I came across here, I do have Shane ranked third, but Shane clearly has the best goaltending, minus the save situation, but he has the best goaltending. And when you say like four of those categories, right? And he's top in the league in three other categories, you know? So most weeks, Shane's probably close to putting up 7 points, right? And, so you can't discount anybody going in here because people have a different number of way to win this year. And in particular, like I do have Nick Saucier winning, but he is very vulnerable on the goalie stats, right? And we have defending champ Shane, who he's oh sorry, top in goalie, top in a couple of player stats. So I think the playoffs are going to be very interesting. I think the biggest surprise for me was Nick O'Brien. I said Nick O'Brien had a good team at the beginning of the year. I didn't think it
Yeah,
was this good. And and again, one of the things that's not surprising, the worst team going to the playoffs is Braden. But like the one surprising thing about Braden though is that he is good in enough categories to squeak out wins, which is a valid strategy in the fantasy hockey. You can be bad in a bunch and then really good in six or seven categories, and that might get you a championship.
Yeah.
it could.
The thing is, though, it's like certain categories like points, it's hard to bank on, right?
Well, exactly right. So he's good in goals and assists. That doesn't always translate to shorthanded points and game-winning goals. And so he's banking on winning categories that aren't a guarantee week after week. They're not the most reliable stats to win on.
Now, I'd be curious to see how this plays out, um, based on your prediction here. Keep in mind, everyone, that it is based on the last 5 weeks. So yes, this is after trade deadline moves, stuff like that. Um, yeah,
Smaller sample size, so room for one bad week, right? To make any upset. So that's fantasy hockey too.
Yeah, and like I was saying, like where Nick's score is a bit skewed, his goalie stats from last week like really jumped him up. Three shutouts in a week, like that's that ties the record. So, um, and like I said, Nick has a good team, but I don't think it's second place good team.
now, Kyle's swearing by this format here over the last 3 years. I'd be curious if next season you do this weekly and kind of see how your prediction goes week after week.
Yeah, so like previously Corey did like almost the same system, right? The Lin, but the difference with the Lin scoring system was that it took every week into account. So then, it wasn't the best at adapting to trades that went on and how teams
Yep,
shift because you're still
absolutely.
carrying the baggage from maybe when you weren't doing so well at the beginning of the season, right? So this one, I think, for the playoff purposes, gives a more accurate representation of how teams might perform in the playoffs versus where previously we did like a whole season, but teams shift, over the course of a season.
I like to challenge you, at least for you to do it next year, just for yourself. Keep analysis of everything going on, and maybe adapt your team strategy based on how you're performing over a span of like a rolling 5 weeks.
Yeah, that's probably something I could probably do.
It'd be interesting, right? Just to see like if how you're adapting to your tracking of what's actually going on in the league. Okay, where am I weak? I need to improve on this.
Mm. Yeah, I'd probably be a more effective GM. Like, oh, okay, I'm ranked 16th in this category.
Yeah, maybe I should fix this.
Yeah,
But it's honestly it's a good eye opener to have a visual for some GMs, right? Like everyone knows Braden's team is shit, but now we can see it.
Exactly.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time putting that together, buddy. It's interesting perspective. It's nice to see where you rank, where everyone ranks against each, not specifically against certain people, but just compared to other GMs in certain categories, right?
Yeah.
All right, I guess it's that time, boys. It's time to talk about the last eight in the hunt to get their name on this trophy. Now, of the eight, there's what, one, two, three former champions?
Yep.
Well, out of eight, there's three former champions. One, two, three teams who have lost in the finals. One other team who should have been there but didn't make it because of we'll call it a diaper move for lack of a better term. Uh, but there's a lot of history in a lot of these teams. I don't think Braden's ever made the finals,
No.
even when he
Don't
was
think
good.
so.
The
Like,
second round, maybe once or twice.
yeah. So Braden with the first seed is the one who's made the least furthest in the playoffs, which is nice. But let's talk about playoffs here, boys. I do want to touch base before last week's predictions. Not so good for us.
Oh, I imagine everybody's were terrible.
Corey went 1 for 8. Kyle and I went 3 for 8.
A lot of upsets last week.
A lot of upsets last week. I did get some predictions in for the playoffs. I got three. The consensus between those three is that Corey will lose. All three went against Corey. Um, 2-1 in favor of me, so one went against me. What do I have here? All of them picked Dre. All three picked Dre to win his first round match. And one picked Daltrey. So I guess let's get into our thoughts. Ramrod Empire taking on Svech Me a Drink. Let's start with you, Corey.
It's gonna be a battle. Um, I'll go with you.
That's it. Nothing to say about the matchup.
No, I think it'll be a good matchup.
It's already pretty good.
He- He's right. Yeah, he's right in the 6 game winning streak going to the playoffs. Leaped over you for fourth. Not that it means anything now. It means absolutely nothing. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see both 12-7-2.
Kyle, what do you think?
Based on my analysis, I have you winning. I have Dan taking the grind, but more or less your goaltending and a few player categories is going to push you to a pretty easy win, I think.
Ironically, it's the goaltending that's got him his points right now.
Well,
um,
it's a lot of week left.
yeah, a lot of week left. I only had one goalie start so far. It wasn't great. But this is a rematch from last year's finals. We're meeting the first round. Dan looked for some retribution after I fucking murdered him in the finals. And I think he's already made a mistake. He's going into the playoffs with a fucking backup goalie on his roster, which he finally dropped today, and three injured players. Like,
Oh
what the
shit!
fuck are you thinking, limping into the playoffs against the champ with that disrespect and hoping for a different result than the finals? Um, he picked up Eriksson Ek last week and put him on his IR. You needed that spot for fucking Svechnikov so you can have another roster player this week against me. I think that is a terrible choice. That's just my opinion. But if that's how you want to play against the champ, that's how you want to play. My boys came to play this week so far. 8 hits from Shen, 8 hits from Joshua last night. Matthews the other night, 3 points, all in the power play. 4 blocks. Maybe it was three. I think it was Kopitar who got me 4 blocks. I had two forwards play Monday. I walked out of the night with 7 blocks. My boys are fired up this week, and they are off to a great start. As long as they don't slow down, this is a fucking cakewalk. But lots of week left. But 2 days with only one game. So is there a lot of week
Yep.
left? I don't know.
Sure.
Daltrey, eighth seed, taking on Braden bye week in the first seed. Corey, who do you got? Feel free to explain why.
I think Braden will take this one. I think he had some pretty bad goalie stats, deflating his numbers from your analysis, but I just don't think Daltrey is strong enough to take him down. And I think the Braden bye week will be in the semifinals for somebody.
Fuck, you don't even know if Daltrey's gonna set his lineup.
No trust, no faith.
Kyle, who you got?
Yeah, so obviously I have Braden ranked as my weakest team here. However, Braden has gone lucky all year, and I'm going to count on that luck to get him through Daltrey this week. And because I know Daltrey will step on his own dick, I will go with Braden, even though I have him ranked last.
I also went with Braden. I feel like he's gonna get the win. And this is gonna be close. I think this is gonna be the closest match, probably, because I don't think either team is that much better than the other team. Uh, I think they're both kind of equal. I think they're both lucky to have been in the playoffs. And we'll see if Braden's luck from the regular season carries over to a deep playoff run, or if he's just setting up a second round matchup to be annihilated here. So, but I will go with Braden this week. I'm not sure Daltrey has what it takes to get by him this week. Dre, the third seed, taking on Domo in sixth. Corey, who you got here?
I think Dre should pummel him.
He
He actually
is.
he actually has goalies. Um, he has the better keepers, the better players. Um, barring some crazy fluke, Nick should have this.
Kyle, anything to say?
I've been picking Dre to win for quite some time. Not changing my mind now.
Not against Domo. Uh, this is like this should be an easy win for Dre. This is like the ideal first round matchup for anyone, really, in my opinion, is you wanted Domo. Domo plays this fucking strategy where he trades everything all year long, and then at the end, yeah, he makes it in the playoffs, but his fucking roster is bone dry. Like you picked it to the bone. Like what do you have? You barely have a set of five keepers. I personally think Domo, if you want longevity in the league, fucking fix your keeper base and stick with it. Make trades not to win the week, but to win the season. And stick to your moves. Don't just keep recycling players. That you're just going to keep limiting the playoffs and be an easy first round exit. That's just my thoughts on Domo's strategy. Maybe it's time to fucking switch it up, bud. Patches, seventh place, taking on Robo Wolf in second. Who you got, Corey?
I got myself. I do think he has a good team. Four goalies to my three. So starts will be interesting to see there. Player wise, I think I have the better players, and I think that will be what solidifies me getting the win for the week.
Good to have confidence in yourself. Kyle, who you got?
Yeah, I have Patches being kind of like a dark horse in this playoffs and like a team to watch out for. And I have him winning this week. Corey does have a good team, one of the best teams in the league. But I think Patches will make it through.
Now, I made my picks at the start of the week. So, yeah, just because Corey's losing this stats, I picked at the start of the week. I had the top three seeds and myself moving on. And I'm going to stand by that because I think overall, Corey's team is better. Patch's team has been hot lately. Um, but I just think overall Corey's team is going to pull it out. He had a rough start, which actually benefited me because Wolf got pulled. Vladar got sent in, let a goal in on three shots, so kind of fucked Dan's stats up a little bit early on. It was great for
Yeah.
me. Not so great
Yes.
for you, but luckily your team has bounced back after a busy schedule last night. So I think in the end that you're gonna pull out a close victory. I don't think anyone's gonna
Yeah.
walk
It'll be
away with
close.
run away with this one. I think it's gonna be really close. This is a matchup that I'm glad I didn't draw with Patches, although I historically beat him in the first round. I would rather the safer bet and just humiliate Dan again. So it'll be interesting. A lot of different perspectives coming into the playoffs. Guys, it's not too late too. If you want to get your playoff predictions in, I would love to hear them because I love when the league's vocal, right? Usually I'm the most hated one in the playoffs, but it seems Corey drew the most hate this time around in the first round. So
That's all
not a
right.
lot of Corey support.
They don't know what a good team looks like.
Well, they do. They've seen it win 3 of the last 4 years. And they hear about it. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what the next round looks like. But I'm not getting too ahead of myself here, and as no one should in the playoffs. We all know fantasy hockey. Things happen that shouldn't happen. Look at Mark winning the championship. Who would have thought? Except Kyle, apparently.
Called it.
Corey, you got any closing remarks?
No,
No.
playoffs. This is fun. So where you have to stress your ad drops though.
This is what we play for all year long, boys. Not Kyle. Kyle doesn't play for this. He just likes to watch from the outside. He's a voyeur. Kyle, you got any closing statements?
If my predictions come true, we'll finally see Shane versus Nick Sosi in the second round.
We'll see about that.
Yeah,
My predictions come true. Uh, you're gonna see me and Braden next week, and I would love that. I would love to take on Braden. Uh,
yeah, you would.
Fuck that guy. I want to save me and possibly Dre for the finals, but I'll take on any sauce in the finals. I don't care. But good luck everyone this week. It sucks to be the 8 teams who are on the outside. You guys need to up your fucking game next year. Maybe we'll talk more highly of your teams. But thanks for playing. I will appreciate your money when I end up winning again, as I always do. And of course,
They're not winning.
we'll see. Everyone said that last year. Everyone said that the year before.
It's all right. I'll say it this year.
I know, and I would love to prove you wrong again.
I know you would.
We'll see in a few weeks. We'll see in a few weeks who's left standing. This is the best time of the year. Thanks
Yep.
for watching, guys. Thanks for joining me. Good luck, everyone, this week, except for you, Dan. Go fuck yourself.